Hi everyone, Ian here from Mako Create, and in this video today we are going to be showing you how to do some graphic design work. Particularly, we're going to be looking at photo editing, face swaps. So, taking photos of people and digitally removing their faces and sticking them on someone or something else. Now, you'll be pleased to know that this is completely free to do. We're going to be using online software, so there's no expensive Photoshops to buy, or there's no apps that you need to download or anything like that. All you need is a computer, PC or Mac, laptop, desktop, it doesn't matter. You just need a browser and access to the internet. So, without any further ado, open up your browser and head to Pixlr. Okay, so in your browser, what you need to do is do a search for Pixlr. So Pixlr. Give that a search, and that's the website that we're after right there, which is pixlr.com. So when you give that a click, you'll be taken to the Pixlr homepage, which looks like this. And Pixlr do a few products, which are all fantastic. But the one that we're going to be using today is Pixlr X, which stands for Express. So you can think of this like Photoshop Lite or Photoshop Express. So if we click on that one up there, you'll be taken to your project homepage. Now, Pixlr is free, which is fantastic, but that does mean that unfortunately there are the occasional adverts. So just have a little bit of patience and understanding with them, and I'm sure you will get along absolutely fine. Like I said, it's a small price to pay for something that is free and fantastic. Okay, so when you've clicked on Pixlr X at the top, you'll be taken to your project page, and here are some projects that I've already had a go at doing before. Yours will probably be blank if this is the first time that you've been here, which is absolutely fine. So we're going to go ahead and create a new project. So over on the left hand side, if you press create new, you will be presented with all the different types of templates, so the sizes that your images can be, depending on where it is that it's going to ultimately go. Let's not worry about that too much right now, because what I need you to do is find a picture that we can work with. Now, this might be a picture that you've taken, that is fine, but a lovely thing about Pixlr is it connects to stock image websites. So if we click on stock search on the left hand side, these are lots and lots of lovely images from the fantastic website Unsplash, which is a royalty-free image website which gives us loads of images that we can use without any worries about copyright. So in the top here, what we need to do is try and find a picture that works for us, and we're going to be looking at swapping people's faces. Now, because I've done this before, I know that if I search for a man and woman puppy, then what it will return is this image right here. You might need to have a little look around for it, but this is the one that I'm going to start with. Now, don't worry if you can't find the exact same one. The principles are going to be very, very similar. But the reason why I like this one is because everybody is looking face on to the camera. I'll explain a little bit more why that's beneficial in a second. So when you click on the image that you want to use, it gives you a few different options. Basically, do you want this image to be really big, kind of big, or small so that it's good for use on the web? I'm going to suggest that you just stick with full HD, nice and easy in the sweet spot in the middle. So click apply, and then you'll be opened up into your very first project. So I have to offer some apologies to these people in this picture. I don't know them, but we're about to have some fun with their faces. So this is Pixlr Express. On the left hand side, we've got lots of lovely tools for changing our images and the way that they look. On the right hand side, we have got a few different things to go through. So up at the top is our navigation setting, and this is where we can zoom in and out of our picture. Really handy for when we come to do those finer details. And then just below that, we've got our layers section, and we're going to add some extra layers in so that we can work with different parts of the image, and I'll explain that a bit more in a second. Just before we do, when we start to make our changes, we're probably almost definitely going to make mistakes. And if you do make mistakes, you'll be pleased to know that right down here at the bottom of your screen, you've got an undo and a redo button. They are your best friends in the whole wide world. If you make any mistakes, rather than trying to manually fix them, just press undo, go back to the way it was, and then have another go at trying to make those changes. So what we need to do right now is create a new layer. At the moment, this is our background layer, and that is absolutely fine. That's where we want to keep it. But what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate it. So effectively, we've got two pictures on top of one another. So on the layers section underneath background, if you right click on that, you get this little pop-out window, and it gives you a few different options. And the one that we're after is this one here, which says duplicate layer. So if you give that a click, then you can now see that we've got two layers. It doesn't look like an awful lot has changed, but we have effectively got two pictures stacked on top of one another. So what we want to make sure is that we've got the top one selected, which we have, and then over on the left hand side inside the tools, we're going to scroll down until we get to the cutout option. So I'm going to give that a click, and this drawer opens up here, and it's got loads of different tools in it. Now, what we can do is we can start off with a shape cutter. Kind of think of this a bit like a cookie cutter. So with the shape cutout tool selected, you've got two options. It says when you draw the shape, do you want to keep what's inside of it, or do you want to remove what's inside of it? We're going to say keep, and we're going to change it to an oval. And basically what I'm after, I'm just using this as a rough guide, I want to get the dog's head. So I'm going to try and draw a circle around, roughly around the dog's head, or an oval. Okay, so I'll leave go there. And it doesn't look like anything's happened, but this is the benefit of us using layers, which we mentioned before. So if we go back up to the layers section, you can see we've got our top one, which we're working on, and the bottom one, which remains unchanged. If I turn this layer off so that we can't see it, it's not deleting it, it's still there, but it just means that it disappears briefly. I can click on that little tick box there, and then basically that hides that layer. So now you can start to get an idea of what it is that's going on. So there's our lovely duplicated layer at the top, which has now had all the other bits that we don't want removed. And we're just left with the dog's face. But when I say removed, it's not gone for good. We've not deleted it. We're just hiding it. We're just masking, okay? So if I go over into the cutout section and click on the draw cutout tool, so rather than using a shape, I'm using a brush this time. And if I click on remove, we can change the size of this brush to be bigger or smaller, and we can also change the softness or hardness, so whether the edge is really fine and crisp or whether it's got kind of a feathered kind of feel to it. Now what I can do is draw around the hard oval edge that I've got with my brush, and what that'll do is just feather that edge nicely for me, so it's not quite a crisp cut, it's kind of a blurred cut, or a blurred mask should I say. So I'm going to turn my background layer back on so that we can see everything. And now what I'm going to do is go over to this tool on the left hand side, which is called Arrange. Okay, so if I give that a click, again, it doesn't look like an awful lot's happening, but what the Arrange tool lets me do is actually move things around. So remember, I've got the top layer selected. I'm going to click on the dog's face, and I'm going to drag it up to the gentleman up there. I'm going to drop that in. Now, that isn't actually all that bad for a first go. With just a few basic edits, use the shape cutout to get a rough idea of the dog's kind of face, and then we've used the brush tool to kind of soften it around the edges. That's not that bad, but we can do better. So this Arrange tool, if I zoom out a little bit using this slider here, you can see that we've got this great big box, and what this box lets me do is resize whatever it is that I've got selected. So if I wanted that dog's head to be a little bit bigger, I can scale it up like that, which looks pretty good to me. And also his head is on an ever so slight slant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this handle right at the top, and I'm just going to rotate by clicking and dragging. I'm just going to rotate the dog's head ever so slightly closer to kind of 11 o'clock rather than just dead on 12. Move it around, and again use that zoom feature. With the zoom tool, it's not just the slider that goes left or right to zoom in or out. We also have this little red square that I can move around. So if I want to get the frame exactly where it is that I'm working, you can drag there. And now we're going to go back to the cutout tool and again go back to the draw cutout, and what I'm going to do is just remove these bits here where the hair is going over the top of the hat. And again, it just be a little bit of a balancing act. I'm not going to spend forever on this, but just getting it roughly in the right position. And remember, we've not deleted anything. If I accidentally started to rub too much out, if I accidentally started to rub too much out like that, if I started to rub his eyes out, we're not deleting it. All I need to do is switch the mode back over to keep, and I can paint those back in. It's just a mask, we're not destroying any information. So I'm kind of happy with that. That looks good to me. So it's the lady's turn now. So what we're going to do is, rather than doing that whole process again where I have to kind of select the dog's head, this time what I'm going to do is duplicate the mask that we've already done, the dog's head. So by right clicking here and going duplicate again, now we've got 3 layers. We've got background, the dog's head, and then the dog's head again. So if I drag on there, you can see now we've got 3 faces to work with. And then it's exactly the same process as before, just using the arrange tool and the cutout tool. It is just a case of trying to get that into position. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit here, and again I'm just going to rotate that head around because she is more towards sort of 1 o'clock rather than 12 o'clock. So just rotate him around there, zoom in a bit more again, get the frame in the right position, bring it down a little bit, and now what I need to do is kind of draw back in some of the dog's hair at the top. So I'm going to cutout, I'm going to draw cutout, and remember I'm getting keep selected. Now my brush is a little bit too big for this, so I'm just going to change the size down a bit. That looks pretty good. And I'm just going to try and get rid of the bits where we can see the lady's skin poking through there, and then I'm going to remove and try and just get rid of the bits around the chin. So that looks pretty good to me. Keep. I am rushing this, so you guys take your time. Just one more little bit up there, and then that looks pretty good to me. So I'm just going to zoom out so we can see what we've got. Now, I'd love for you guys to spend a little bit more time doing that than I have. I've kind of rushed it. If we wanted to, we could try and get it so the dog's hair was popping out at the top of that man's cap, and I could try and get it a bit more blended with the lady's hair as well. But just as a quick fire example, using free software that's online available for you to use right now, that is not a bad effort. This particular photo, the reason why I've chosen this is because, like I said earlier, everybody's looking straight on at the camera. If you've got a photo where somebody's looking one way and another person's looking straight on or a different way, then you're going to find that kind of difficult to match those faces up exactly. Give it a try, see what you can do, but ideally you need it where everybody's kind of looking the same way. That's going to work best. So let's just take a quick look at another example of the kind of thing that you can do using very, very similar techniques. If I click on my upside down face, then not doing a face swap, what I've done is I've put somebody's face back on themselves but rotated it around so that it's upside down. You kind of get this freaky kind of effect going on over here, and that's just done with 2 layers. So if I switch the top one off at the top here, you can see that's what it originally looks like, and then there is my face that I've just cut out and rotated around onto the top. So using exactly the same techniques as I've just showed you, just applied ever so slightly differently, so you can have loads of fun with everything that I've just shown you there. Now, when you get to the end of your project and you're happy with what it is that you've done, when you want to come to save this, remember this is a project. We can't really do all that much with it right now. We can't share it in an email, we can't send it to our friends or anything like that. You need to save what you've done. So what we're going to do is down here towards the bottom right hand corner of your screen, we're going to click on the save button. And then this Pixlr gives you the option to name your file. So I'm going to call it doggy face swap. I'm going to choose my file type. I'm completely happy with JPEG, and then you can choose how what quality you want it to be, low, medium or high. Pixlr does all the compression for us, which is lovely. And then you just press download, and that will be saved into your downloads folder or wherever your browser normally saves the files when you're saving stuff from the internet. Okay, so that is everything. That's how you can have some fun using free online software called Pixlr. All you need is a computer with access to the internet and a browser. So when you've saved your work, if it is ever going to make its way online onto a social network, then we would love to see what it is that you've done. So make sure that you at Mako Create UK in all of your work, so we can see the fantastic work that you guys are doing at home. Yeah, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something, and we look forward to seeing you again in another video soon. Take it easy. Bye.